Sunday dinners had been a ritual. My husband Jim, our son Mark, and his wife Brittany would gather around the table as I prepared a nice meal, trying to create a semblance of family harmony. But no matter how much effort I put in, Brittany always found a way to shift the focus to herself. This particular evening was no exception. Halfway through dinner, she sighed dramatically and put her fork down. "You know," she began, her voice laced with feigned exhaustion, "Mark and I are just so overwhelmed. We need a getaway, somewhere tropical maybe, but the prices are just insane." I kept eating, hoping she'd elaborate further, but her silence filled the room with expectation. "The flights alone are outrageous," she continued, glancing at Mark, who nodded in agreement. "It would be so nice if someone could help us out, just this once." Her words hung in the air as she looked at me expectantly. I glanced at Mark, silently asking for backup, but he avoided my gaze. "Brittany," I said as evenly as possible, "we already help you with so much. A vacation isn't something we can justify." Her face didn't even twitch. "But you could if you wanted to," she pressed, her voice sharp now. "It's not like you're struggling, and Mark and I never ask for much." I couldn't help it. A laugh escaped my lips, but not because anything was funny. "Brittany," I said, staring her down, "who do you think pays your rent, car insurance, and half the stuff you order online?" Her face darkened. "So you're saying no," she said, her voice colder now. "I'm saying no," I replied firmly. What happened next still feels surreal. Without a word, Brittany grabbed her soup bowl and flung it at me. The hot liquid splashed across my face, the heat stinging my skin. I sat there, too stunned to move. Jim broke the silence, but instead of defending me, he turned to Brittany and said, "You didn't have to do that." Then, to my utter disbelief, he added, "But Linda, you didn't have to be so difficult." Mark said nothing. Brittany smirked, crossing her arms like she had just won some twisted battle. I stood up, wiped my face with a napkin, and left without another word. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of coffee and staring out the window. The sting from the soup had faded, but Jim's words burned deeper. "You didn't have to be so difficult." When Jim finally came downstairs, I didn't wait for him to start. "I'm done," I said, my voice unwavering. He blinked at me, confused. "Done with what?" "Everything," I replied. "I'm done paying their rent, groceries, car insurance, and anything else. Not a dime more." "Linda, you can't just do that," he exclaimed. "They depend on us." "No," I shot back. "They depend on me, and it's time they figured it out. They're adults, Jim. It's time they acted like it." He opened his mouth to argue, but I cut him off. "Jim, she threw soup in my face, and what did you do? You defended her and called me difficult. If you're so concerned, you can pay for her out of your golf budget." He fell silent. That evening, I called Mark. "Starting next month, your father and I will no longer be covering your expenses," I told him. "But Mom," he stuttered. "No," I interrupted. "You're married now. You have responsibilities. It's not my job to finance your life." There was a long pause before he finally muttered, "Brittany's not going to like this." "She doesn't have to," I replied, and hung up. A week later, there was a knock at my door. It was Brittany, with a flushed face and a syrupy sweet voice. "Hi, Linda," she said. "Can we talk?" I hesitated but stepped aside. "I just wanted to apologize," she began, but her tone felt rehearsed. "Things got heated and I overreacted." "Overreacted?" I repeated. "You threw soup in my face, Brittany." She winced but quickly recovered. "I know, and I feel terrible. That's why I'm here. I want to make things right." Her words rang hollow, and I wasn't buying it. "Brittany," I said firmly, "you don't seem to understand. For years, I've supported you and Mark. The moment I set a boundary, you threw a tantrum. This isn't about a vacation. This is about respect, and you've shown me none." Her face shifted, and for the first time, I saw a glimmer of vulnerability. But I didn't relent. Weeks later, I learned Brittany and Mark had traded the modest car I helped them buy for a brand new SUV. When I confronted them, Brittany's response was casual. "We got a great deal, don't worry about it." That was the last straw. I looked at my husband and said, "Jim, if you want to keep enabling them, go ahead. But I'm done. And if you can't stand by me, then maybe we're done too." As I rebuilt my life, I wondered if I had finally freed myself, or if Brittany had one last trick up her sleeve. Want to know how this story ends? Subscribe to my channel for the next chapter of this unbelievable journey.